It's been an interesting time for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans, especially when it comes to the comic books. We've had the highest of highs, TMNT The Last Ronin, and the lowest of lows, Sophie Campbell's time on the TMNT title, which stretched out far too long. But apparently our nightmare is coming to an end after about 4 years. Sophie Campbell is leaving TMNT at issue number 150. We do not know who's taking over, but at this point, I'll take anything. I will take just about anything. I don't want T. Franklin on the book, but let's not go insane. But any kind of change away from Sophie Campbell and TMNT and Mutant Town as an allegory for being trans will be a welcome addition. Now, Sophie Campbell in the past has done just amazing art on TMNT, specifically before Sophie transitioned. Back in the day, they illustrated a lot of comic books, and they're absolutely fantastic. And I did have somewhat high hopes, but that was all dashed after, I don't know, about 2 issues, maybe 3 issues. I stuck it out through about 9 months, and that was about all I could take. And if you stuck it out longer, I feel bad for you because this thing has been an absolute nightmare, but it's coming to an end. Sophie Campbell, who's been writing the monthly comics since issue 101, is ending her run with the title's 150th issue. She had previously provided art for the book before taking over the reins as writer from Tom Waltz. Initially, her run was only meant to last 12 issues, but it lasted a lot longer. The fallout of the book's 100th issue saw many of New York's denizens turned into humanoid animals like the Turtles, with the characters thereafter being contained in Mutant Town. And I remember the IDW TMNT run just being absolutely amazing because it did this really cool thing. Tom Waltz, the writer specifically, also with Kevin Eastman helping him out there. It kind of blended the history and the stories of the Mirage era from the original 90s cartoon, and even like some of the stuff from the early 2000s that had gone out there and informed people of TMNT, and it kind of wrapped it all into this one cohesive story and lore that was just really amazing. It was absolutely fantastic. For a long time, in my opinion, it was easily the best independent comic book being produced on the market for a very long time. We got up to City of War because during that, it basically plays all the greatest hits, the big beats that you get from all those different runs, but with a new interpretation, with the new lore that's established in the comic book under IDW, obviously concluding with City of War, because you always have to hit City at War, and it ended up being 10 issues, and it just, I don't know, it just dragged down and died, and I was like, what happened to Tom Waltz here? And they announced Sophie Campbell was taking over at issue 101, and I was like, well, trans writers haven't been overwhelmingly successful on superhero comic books in the past, but Sophie Campbell in a previous life had been a great storyteller with the TMNT series, so I was cautiously optimistic of the change over to Sophie Campbell as the full-time writer, and it just kind of dies almost immediately. It's no longer about your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's not about Leonardo and Raphael and Donatello and Michelangelo. You know, obviously, and Splinter's dead at that point, I believe. It's only about the anthropomorphic people in Mutant Town, because everyone got changed into, not all turtles, there are different things, but they're all in this mutant town because they've been segregated because they're not really mutants, they're trans. Everyone's trans in the book, and everything's a trans allegory. And Sophie Campbell reminds you over and over again, do you get this? Do you understand that Mutant Town and the direction that we've taken TMNT after issue 100 means that it's a trans allegory now? Do you get it? Do you get it? It's like, yeah, I got it. Got it 3 issues ago. Okay, still getting it. Still getting it. Oh, we're still doing this really boring ass story where all the brothers are completely depressed the entire time, and we're just telling trans allegory stories in TMNT, and you know, it just didn't make sense. And I'm going, I don't think I came to TMNT. I don't think really many TMNT fans really go to that series or that franchise going for, you know, trans allegory. And I imagine it could have worked for an issue or 2 or 3 because you did need some come down after the climax of issue 100, City at War, all the big fallouts out of that comic book issue, because a lot of things happen. You did need a little bit of time to breathe within the series, but it just never started up again. And somehow we got to the point where even the Turtles themselves, Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo, were basically an afterthought because Sophie Campbell, not surprisingly, had a self-insert fanfic character put into the book. Beyond this new setup, Campbell also designed Jennika's turtle form, who quickly became a pervading star in the franchise. Introduced beforehand as a human member of the Foot Clan, a last-ditch blood transfusion from one of the Turtles turns her into a mutant terrapin like them. From there, she remained a firm ally of the other Turtles, defending Mutant Town and its citizens. And I think that's very generous on the part of CVR there. She remained an ally of the Turtles. No, she didn't. She took over the book. She got her own standalone miniseries, which is probably where you should have told the damn story. And then TMNT was the Jennika story. It's Jennika got a band together. Jenna's got a pig that she's interested in. Jennika is having a tough time transitioning from human to turtle. It just became this, it wasn't even slice of life. It was just stupid. All of it was dumb. And all the characters that you actually like, the reason that you pay for the book, they're just sitting on the sideline, being depressed and not wanting to talk to each other. And for some reason, IDW just let it become the Jennika title, which Jennika is basically just Sophie Campbell's fanfic character that she created, not just for the series. Sophie Campbell had created that character with a different name like years and years and years before that, maybe like 10 years before that, and somehow got to insert her own version of herself as a turtle into the book. And shockingly, Sophie Campbell was more interested in telling stories about herself than actually telling action-based comic book stories about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know you guys are just really surprised to hear this. No one could have saw this coming with all these changes to TMNT under Sophie Campbell and becoming the Jennika show. The sales declined. People got less interested. People were like, wait, my favorite turtle is actually Raphael. He has been for 25 years. Maybe this isn't my thing. Or I really like Leonardo. He's the leader, but he's not doing anything. Well, I like Donatello, but he's been sidelined. And basically IDW and Sophie Campbell gave every TMNT fan that wanted to stick with the comic book series a reason to leave. You actually have to do a full break just to get away from this stuff because it was so bad. It just sat there and died on the vine for like a year or two straight. Supposedly, I've heard rumors that things have changed, and now our favorite turtles are back in the story. But at that point, who gives a shit? You already gave me so many reasons to stop reading. I would never come back, especially not under Sophie Campbell. And they have to get a good writer to do this. They need a writer that's actually compelling to get people to go back and enjoy the series again, or even try it. That's how bad things got. The current story arc in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is fittingly titled Road to 150, though the Ninja Turtles are unfortunately not in a great place. With his clan of brothers divided, Donatello is now searching for answers about the mysterious Armagon, a new villain who has the power to rend time and space, given the several new allies that the Turtles have been given in the current run. However, the milestone issue will likely include quite a few of them. And quite frankly, who cares if any of these new allies join the fight for issue 150? If you don't have the four Turtles, April O'Neil, Casey Jones, and perhaps the resurrection of Splinter, it doesn't really matter at this point because nobody wants to read about all these stupid characters that Sophie Campbell created. And you know, it says right there, the brothers, the clan is still divided. For 50 fucking issues, they never got back together? Obviously, I dipped out. Hopefully, they got back together for at least an issue or two and decided to fight some evil rather than just being depressed for 4 fucking years straight and always returning to the same place. But I don't know, man. It was just a rough ride because those first 90 or so issues of TMNT under IDW were just really brilliant. I can't think of anybody doing a better job delivering a TMNT story, a TMNT lore, weaving together a TMNT comic book that literally any fan of TMNT would actually like. And they actually, you know, executed almost perfectly for 90 issues. Unfortunately, it does tail off and get really, really decompressed for that City at War story. I guess they just really wanted to sell a bunch of comic books based on an event, and it ended up kind of dying off there. And you would have imagined that would be a great place for a new writer like Sophie Campbell to come on. But Sophie Campbell couldn't remember that they were a TMNT fan. They couldn't remember why people wanted to read TMNT comic books. Sophie Campbell said, this is my opportunity to turn Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles into a trans allegory and place myself, insert fanfic character into the storyline and actually overshadow the characters that people are paying to read about because, I don't know, maybe Sophie Campbell's a really selfish person. That seems to be something that happens with a lot of the modern trans creators these days. They get on the title and they don't see it as an opportunity to grow their brand or tell amazing stories with the characters and universes that they've been allowed to play with. Obviously, writing a major comic book series. This is my chance to make Hawkgirl a trans allegory character, or this is my chance to make the New Mutants trans allegory and create my own self-insert character like Charlie Jane Andrews did there. And obviously I was talking about Jadzia Axelrod with Hawkgirl, which has her own self-insert character, Dreamer, in it. And it's like the same thing over and over again. Like, none of these people are professional. They can't just write a comic book story based on what the readers want. It has to be all about like what the authors have been through and creating their own self-insert characters. It ends up being so bad. And at this point, you only get so many chances before I start noticing a trend. I'm like, I don't think I even want to try that out because I think I know exactly what a trans creator is going to do in 2023 or 2024 or 2025. I don't see this ending anytime soon. And not only was this run just really bad for TMNT fans, but, you know, just bad for comic fans in general. And like I said, that Jennika character and Sophie Campbell just ruined a great series. I kind of talked about it with my good friend Mark Pellegrini, who's a comic book writer. He works on Common America and some of the other projects. We talked about it all here. He's actually written some TMNT stuff. He actually has a website dedicated to TMNT. This guy just really broke it down. It was awesome. There's also a link in the video description.